Hello and welcome. This is Diana and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be a starseed kind of current energy check-in. I've been reading some really wild stories, just tuning into frequencies and kind of seeing like what's unfolding, right? Because there is a bunch of, like, once you get into like this whole starseed thing, like there's a lot of different energies on the planetary alignment, right? And we're at a very pivotal point. And so, like, as you're starting to unpack and come into like your star family, your cosmic family, and you are getting okay with like the terms Christ consciousness and working your energetic frequency, identifying your chakra system, right? Understanding that you are the rose, like you are the consciousness that is truly here to impact, right? It's kind of like they're kind of showing me like a tweak on the fool's journey, right? On like the journey, like Dante's Inferno, the having to go through all of the layers within like your consciousness. It's kind of like you went through everything and now you're being rebirthed, like this a new creation, right? But the same variation of self. It's just the old is like fully dissipating, dying, it's eating itself, right? So they're kind of showing me the way cells go into hyatrophy, and the way they break down. The cells that no longer are serving a purpose or in a high enough frequency, they're kind of like recoding, re-vibrating. They just said, hello, the karmic contract. Like that's essentially like what you've been releasing, right? And so like as you're stepping into this vibration of love, like you're understanding like what are boundaries, what are the things that you need to be breaking chains to, and like how you're stepping into this honor and protection of like the who you are and the like what you're really here to do, right? It's kind of like if you've ever tried to read your Akashic records, right? They kind of blast over like a majority of the reason of why you're here, right? And they don't let you get into the minutia because it tends to be very, very overwhelming. Like to understand like the where you are versus the where you should be versus the what's unfolding in your current reality, right? And so you've been kind of maneuvering or bouncing through these multitude of different dimensions within your own paradigm, right? And I don't know if somebody's going to like a mountain or going to like a place where you feel fully connected in with Gaia. They just said if you lay it at her feet, like what you desire will come to you. It's kind of like you're walking in the shadow of the once of what could have been. Like that's an old paradigm. So as you're increasing your vibration, as you're shifting your consciousness, like you then have this access to getting your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your desires, like the what it is you truly want, right? Because you're collapsing your old timeline. You're literally like calling forward your family of light of highest vibration. It's kind of like the current reality is trying to push you to accept and identify like what is actually taking place in that reality, right? And you're pushing back and saying with a universal heart, this is the truth that I believe to be where the consciousness needs to move forward, right? And as you're doing that, like you're kind of meeting like more like-minded people, like, oh, breathing. The key to your freedom is Christ consciousness, right? And that's that's the thing. And they kept coming out last night, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll record it, right? Because there is an initiation that's happening to those frequencies that are operating out of like whale and dolphin frequencies, right? These frequencies can't be actually impeded, although like the animal itself, right, can be, like they can mess with the sonar of a whale, and then the whale ends up thinking that there's no land because it can't feel where the sonar is going, right? It can't feel where it's supposed to be going, so then it gets all discombobulated and it veers off course. And what the guides are telling me is like, as you go through this resolution of your old, and you understand that each time you, it's not invoke, but each time that you see like a mirrored paradigm, and you're choosing to step into a heart-centered universal consciousness, right? Where you're like, truth is truth. I'm not going to say that universal law is not valid. Like, it is the only thing that is valid, right? And as you're pushing that into the world is also reverberating and shifting its frequency to the way it is currently operating, right? And somebody's also learning how to amplify their energetic fields. Maybe you've been playing with that. Oh, that's interesting. They just said like you're able to clearly see your timelines, and you're able to separate like your lower body versus your higher body versus, yeah, exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they just said your density, right? Like you're becoming a master within your own energetic frequency. And so, because I just got goosebumps all over my body. Golf clap. I just want to say, like, whoever this is for, like, I'm super pumped that, like, you've gotten to this state, right? Because, like, it's, now you can pivot the world on its ass, right? Now you can truly step into, like, your divine pathway. Through this heart center, through this, it's... They just said being seen, not heard. I don't know what that's about. Can you tell me? Is it in this deck, or it's in that deck? Is there anything else out of this deck that you want me to get? I wasn't planning on using that other deck. Was not planning that. Okay. They just said, like, have reverence in the in-between as you're aligning with your own Christ consciousness, when you're aligning with your own inner Trinity, right? Your mother, maiden crone, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? However that looks like for you. As you're realigning, you're literally parting the sea. You're literally parting the gateway that you need to get into this self-mastery. Or maybe that's what you've already done. Maybe that's this confirmation of your initiation. I don't know. One of these. One would be preferable. Has somebody been playing with thunder and lightning? So, like, for those of you that are, like, shamans out there, like, you can truly tap into the elements, right? And you don't necessarily have to only tap into earth, or only tap into air, or only tap into fire, or only tap into animals, right? And so, like, they're all different facets of who you are. And so, like, maybe that was a push for you to go, okay, now I'm ready, right? But they're kind of showing me, like, somebody stepping into their power and, like, requesting and asking from the elements to work with you so that you can prove to yourself that you're as strong as you are, right? And we all go through that. It's all a phase of like, okay, am I just making this shit up? Like, because I'm for sure staring at a you know, flame, and it is for sure bending, right? Or, oh, I asked the wind to dance with me, and all of a sudden the wind is for sure dancing with me. Like, what is going on, right? And then they just said Lord Shiva. So I would work with this energy in regards to your transcendence this week, for whatever Gaia is going to be releasing, right? From your old paradigm, pushing and accelerating you into your new current reality, right? A higher timeline. It's all about like the vulnerability and the truth of like the where you're at. Like, you're not feeding into the negativity. You're owning like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, and I'm going to choose a higher timeline, and I know I'm a conscious creator, so I'm going to manifest my heart's desires. What do I truly wish to do, right? And like, as you're doing that, like, you're gaining your strength. It's almost like you're in your healing cave, and you're, it's almost, wow, I just got goosebumps. So for those of you, that have found your healing cave, you can ask your team if they have the Sorcerer's Stone, in that healing cave. That healing cave cannot be impeded by anything outside of you. It's yours specifically in this paradigm. And if for those of you that have had your Akashic records tampered with or impeded, like, ask your team to only give you your highest timeline without any corruptions, right? And it's all about like pulling it into you with clarity, with discernment, with understanding, right? Because your ego is going to tell you like what you want to hear, right? And it's your job to transmute, mutate, clear, cancel, release, like the things that are keeping you from your higher heart activation, right? Because when you step into your higher heart, like, and you stay there permanently, like that is your new zip code, right? Then what happens is somebody's going to leave the city. And they're funny. They're like, you're going to step into your heart and you're going to be like, peace, I'm out. But again, it's like, it's you creating the space. Good release whoever just like opened up their heart center and kind of let it rebalance. Whatever's sitting on the shoulder, I can see you. You can go ahead and exit. We'll transport you to the proper way station. You're welcome. Yeah, it's all about like you surrendering and like and praying to the divine. Like, this is my heart's desires. This is truly what I want, right? And it's not saying like you're leaving the city forever. It's just that you're going to fully recalibrate into that heart-centered consciousness. And as you do that, you're helping transmute the energy for 100, 500,000 people. And so like, allow yourself the time to recalibrate, not only in your hands, but in your heart and in your head. And taking that time to realign yourself, it kind of allows your, because this, it's really weird. What they're showing me is like your solar plex and your heart chakra, once you're fully in your high heart, they essentially fuse into one. So it looks like a figure 8. And the energies are almost muddled. They're almost like blending. So it's like it's an aura within an aura, right? It's like a hue around the 8. And so like maybe you want to dive into that more and see what you can figure out the reason for that is, or like the why it looks like that. Like if it has anything to do with the bouncing between the duality of the two paradigms, or if you're able to just pull into like one of your highest timeline and stay there, right? And live there. That's something that you're gonna have to ask and dig into, right? But I know that once you hit into this like Christ consciousness, there's not gonna be any dipping into it's funny, they keep showing me Kali, like a Kali kind of an energy where like heads are just ripping, and it always makes me think of Mongolia. That life was just full of like ripping heads. I don't know why I'm laughing, but like they're just kind of like tossing a bunch of stuff, and it's identifying where, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. They just said it's identifying the root cause of like where your triggers are lying. And like a lot of it, once you've done the inner work of the current reality, a lot of that stuff comes from like past lives. And so asking to see, like, what was that lifetime? Who was I? How did it affect me? Like, how am I currently reacting from that timeline? And then ask them to show you the people who are activating those old contracts from that past life, right? And so, yeah, it's all about asking the key indicating questions so that you can then figure out, like, okay, what is that last little bit that's keeping me from my heart center as you're stepping into that self-mastery. And maybe you're doing that in water, right? I'm not taking all of those. That's not happening. I want one, please. Thank you. Yeah, there's something also about like you carving out your own path, like looking at, it's weird because they keep screaming like vibration. It's going to be like, as you proceed forward, it's going to be all about vibration, the vibration of the home that you're living in, the vibration of the land, the vibration of the people. And it's kind of like going to the outlier locations, finding the heart-centered conscious people, and then overriding the congestion of the locations where there are not heart-centered people. They're just kind of showing, they just said like where Babylon lives. And so if you don't know about Babylon, I would definitely like read into that so that you can see how it portrays to you, right? It's all about starting to develop your skills to express the most honesty and honestly things you can in a positive way, putting yourself in another person's shoes, but doing it from a heart-centered consciousness, right? When somebody comes to you and they are wounded, right, and they are acting out of a core wound or need that has yet to be met, right? Can you show them kindness and mercy, or do you swing to the pendulum of justice, right? And so like that's something that you're going to have to go through and look at. And when you have times, hard times of expressing like the why you do what you do, or why you go internal, or why you've been triggered and your old is coming up, like take time out to like honor that process. But like instead of burying your head like an ostrich, like allow yourself that time to truly actually process, right? Because it's like, it's okay, you could have said that at the beginning. They just said like over the next like 3 months, like your old is going to get triggered. Like if you have somebody in your life, if you have soul family entering in, like you are going to get triggered. You are going to be like, that doesn't resonate with me, and know that that's perfectly okay. But like you have to get to a state where you agree to disagree, or like maybe they're just not in resonance with you at this time, and you can love them from afar, right? Like you can accept them from afar, because their truth is not your truth. Your truth is only your truth. You're here to have your own experience, not to copy and meddle or impede in something that's not. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. It's like, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm picking up on your cross-watcher energy. That's usually, that doesn't happen. Weird. Yeah, something's trying to throw you off kilter so that you don't take a leap of faith. I don't know. So you have to really, yeah, they're saying everything is very relevant, right? So like, just as I changed the channel, like you have to identify when your channel has been, it's kind of like a CV radio getting crossed with another signal, right? And then all of a sudden that happens to not be your truth. Like, are you checking into your inner dialogue, right? And are you identifying like what it is. Is it for your highest timeline, or is your ego or a lower energy that's trying to impede your channel, your radio frequency, right? And by identifying, calling it into the light, and really truly working through like the what is coming up, and they just said like calling it out on the grass, right? Like when that's so funny. So like if you've ever boxed with somebody, right? Say like you guys are fighting, or you're like, God, that guy's such an asshole, right? Back in the olden days, they used to go grab a set of gloves, and they'd be like, cool, go ahead and box it out, right? At least where I grew up, that's the way they used to do it. And at the end of it, you feel like, you're like, cool, at least I was able to get it out, right? And you're able to release it. You're not doing it out of malice, or you're getting it out of your body. And so I'm not saying go and beat anybody's ass, right? But like understand like that sometimes you have to just get it out of your field, and that what? You have to ask your body, show me where this energy's at, right? Show me what's keeping me from transcending into this next phase. Call it out on the mat. And wherever it's coming from, ask to see it in clear and concise clarity. Show me everything, right? And then sit in meditation and let your guides bring it to you. And for those of you that do work with roses, turn your red rose into a sticky rose, right? Turn your yellow rose into a sticky rose. Whatever that flower looks like, make it sticky so it's catching flies on paper. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because I feel like I kind of got off-railed. Or off track. I don't know. Oh, God help me. All right. Well, I'm going to leave that there. If something in this resonated with you and you are still watching, give it a thumbs up. And I appreciate you. Until next time, be well. Ciao.